primeval, grotesque, magnificent. Tall as a man at the shaggy hump. 10 feet of muscled energy from muzzle to haunch. A ton of bulk. The power of a bull. When he moved across the prairie, the earth shook beneath him. In the beginning, the buffalo ran by the millions, spilling across the North American plains in annual migratory waves, north through the prairies of Canada, south to the Mexican desert, east to the Mississippi, west to the Rocky Mountains. To the Indians of the plains, he was life. Without the buffalo, how would the brave feed his women and children? What clothing would cover him? What would line his dwelling? To the Indian, the buffalo was life, and to assure the abundance of the herds, he danced. Of Indian society was the hunt. Here, in the thick of the chase, the young brave asserted his manhood. Here, the Indian found a measure for his pride. The buffalo was kin, linked to the Indian in the bloody brotherhood of hunter and hunted. A gift of love from the Great Spirit, token of his regard for his Indian children. Secure in his domain, he welcomed the early white hunters and their generous gifts of horses and guns. And their whiskey. On the Great Plains, the buffalo flourished. No enemy could threaten his numbers. No disease could challenge his vigor. All the hunting parties of all the Indian nations could not diminish the vast horde. It seemed as though the buffalo would run forever. But by 1830, a new United States of America was emerging, an industrial America. West lay raw materials, west lay land. Only the Indian and the buffalo stood in the way. Westward came the white hunters. Their exploits, artfully embellished, built the legend of the Wild West, spawning a new breed of American folk hero. Wild Bill Hickok, Buffalo Bill Cody, daring in the hunt, more daring still in the dime novels of Ned Buntline. Kit Carson, and a swarm of lesser deities. But in the words of one old hunter, hunting the buffalo had as much sport as shooting fish in a rain barrel, and it was just as dangerous. It was a half-century of slaughter. Slaughter by white and by Indian both. Slaughter, reckless and wasteful. Abandoned carcasses littered the plains, perfuming the western air with the stench of decay. By mid-century, the westward surge of settlement had pushed the trails of the white man across the continent. Now, when the Canadian herds followed their ageless pattern of southern migration, the buffalo balked warily at the white man's tracks. The coming of the railways was a sharp knife laid across the heart of the great herd. By 1869, East was joined to West, and the herd was irrevocably split. Settlement spoke the final word of doom. The plow that broke the plains shattered the great herds forever. The disappearance of the buffalo marked the end of the Indian's free nomadic life and assured his dependence on the white man's world. He had struck back against American settlement in an endless series of raids and depredations, but the tribes lacked the organization to muster an assault in force. When they finally did rise up as one, it was too late. Scores of treaties had been signed. Treaties drafted in Washington to advance white settlement while ensuring the docility of the tribes. When white greed grew insatiable, when white promises proved to be written on sand, then the Indian rose in impotent fury, and for more than 2 decades the prairies flamed with war. Of the 1,000 battles, a few names have survived into history. The Battle of the Rosebud, the Little Bighorn, 1876, where Custer died with all his troops, hardening American determination to crush the Indian. The grim starvation march of General George Crook and his men to find and punish the victors of the Little Bighorn. The Indian leaders of these bloody times were men of stature. Their names still live. Sitting Bull, Quanah Parker, Rain in the Face, Satanta, Mangus Coloradus, Chief Joseph, Geronimo. In December 1890, at Wounded Knee Creek, an overwhelming force under General Miles slaughtered 300 Sioux. The Indian spirit and his pride broke at Wounded Knee. But the wars with the whites were anticlimax. The Indians' way of life had perished with the buffalo. Before 1820, the Great Plains of North America sustained 60 million buffalo. In 1890, fewer than 1,000 head remained, and over the desolate prairie could be heard the heartbroken prayer of the Indian. Father, have pity on us. We are crying for hunger. All is gone. We have nothing to eat. Father, we are poor. We are very poor. The buffalo are gone. Take pity on us, Father. You are close by. Hear us and help us. Take away the white man. Send back the buffalo. We are poor and weak. We can do nothing alone. Help us to be as we once were, happy hunters of the buffalo.